Good morning. Today, I have the privilege of being here with you on this very historic day of February 4th, 2013. No doubt you are thinking, yes, today is the day that George Washington was elected first president of the United States in 1783. Or maybe better, I'm referring to that amazing day that J.W. Goodrich introduced rubber galoshes to the public in 1824. But no, others of you are saying that's just silly. She is a good Lutheran girl, so obviously she's speaking of the birth of Dietrich Bonhoeffer on this day in 1906. Truly, let me tell you all this. All of you are wrong. I am here for an occasion bigger than all of those put together. Something so great, it's hard to wrap your mind around. Are you ready? Do you know? Well, surely you must think I'm joking because obviously you all know we are here for Student Affairs Week. Woohoo! Okay. So I'm looking at some of your faces and I'm not seeing recognition of this. You didn't know it was Student Affairs Week, did you? Well, that's okay. Most people don't know what Student Affairs is, much less that we have our own week. So that's what I'm here to talk with you about today. While most students couldn't tell you what we do, but they know we're here and paid for something, I'm here to tell you that Student Affairs is work related to areas of students' lives outside of the formal classroom. People working in Student Affairs serve in a variety of functions and roles. Some examples include professionals working within residence life, student health and wellness, student activities, career development, orientation, racial and ethnic minority support services, retention, assessment. Those are some things. Student life also provides consultation and guidance to the university in assisting them with compliance of federal and state laws, and can be important advocates on legislative issues related to students, such as privacy laws and campus safety. People who work in student affairs have at least a master's degree and come to the field from various academic backgrounds, ranging from psychology to law, from business finance to multicultural studies. Yet all of the differing educational degrees and job positions within the field, we have one thing in common, and that is the commitment to student learning and development. The very heart of our work is creating learning environments and experiences across campus for all students through late-night discussion in the residence halls, sitting on student government, working as a peer mentor, or participating in mock interviews and career development. The venues and people may change, but the goal is always the same, and that is to support the education and development of the people we like to work with the most, and that's students. So how does one come to work in student affairs? Well, I feel compelled to be honest, being that I'm in a chapel and all of that, and let you in on a secret. There is no one sure path. I followed a rather non-traditional path in getting here, so if you want a real knowledgeable and intelligent answer to this question, I refer you to anyone who works in student life and learning at TLU because they are really good at answering this question. Many of them knew from the very beginning that this was the kind of work for them, and they set career goals and had great success in achieving them. Isn't that great? Doesn't it just bug you when people know that from the very beginning? It always bugged me because I've never been one that really knew what they wanted to do. I've always been one that has struggled with what I wanted to do, and as I mentioned earlier, since I'm a good Lutheran, I kept waiting to hear that call of vocation, to hear definitively from God what talents He gave me and how He wanted me to use them in the world. While I waited, I went ahead and went to school and got my education. And I found that I loved learning, not just about one subject, but lots of them. And most of them had nothing to do with my degree. I was successful in developing a first-rate steel-trap mind of almost totally useless information. I had all kinds of trivia on Dallas and Knots Landing that has not yet been useful. Yet there was no calling, there was no burning bushes, there was no engraved tablets that fell down from the sky telling me what I was supposed to do in life. I got married and had children. Yes, I multiplied to the horror of my sisters. I became a licensed counselor and worked in treatment hospitals, and then went on into the criminal system as a probation officer with federal offenders, but I felt no calling yet. I eventually landed in the psychology department and was teaching at TLU, where I thought surely God would phone. I mean, really, I even went to chapel now. And then there came the day when I was asked to take on the Dean of Students position. No, I said, I will not. I cannot. I won't. No, I don't think I will. Well, I probably shouldn't. It doesn't feel really comfortable. Don't you think that I should not take this? Maybe I should. Maybe I could. Probably, okay, yes, I will take the job. Did you hear that? Was that the celestial phone ringing? Could someone possibly be calling? Was this finally the call of vocation? Or was I just really in a very bad need for a vacation? Once again, I'm not so sure I know. But with all of the time spent on this, I do know I have learned a few things. Just as was read in the opening Bible verse, I have seen that God has given us all different gifts and abilities to use in this world to help fill deep voids where needs exist. In looking back at my career, I see that even though I didn't think I had a plan to what I was doing, I ended up discovering a thread of talents that seemed to show up and serve me well in whatever job I had at the time. I found that I looked for core values of service and justice before accepting positions, and I could not stay at a place where the spirit of inquiry and respect were not practiced. Jobs that I thought I just happened to fall into were actually connected with commonalities that I did not see at the time. Helping, guiding, and supporting was what I did in my work and my life, and its importance to me was so primary to my soul, so close to my heart, that I couldn't see it, and I didn't even consider that this very thing was actually my calling. And that was the biggest lesson of all to me, to know that I could not learn what I am by focusing on something outside of myself. God had programmed my calling into me as surely as He had designed my DNA. It is not about what job I want or what degrees I have obtained. It's about doing what comes so naturally to me that I am sometimes not even aware of it, or feeling such joy in making a difference that it brings light to my very being. These gifts and abilities of mine manifest themselves in the venues of work, family, and play, and they're not just tied to a paycheck. I found that my definition of vocation was much too narrow, and my mind too much of this world to understand that my plan didn't really matter, because God already had His, and it was working just fine, thank you very much. So what about you? What are your gifts? What are your abilities, and how do they show up in your life, both at work and at play? Be aware, sometimes they show up in odd ways that may hit you with the force of a sledgehammer, or they may only be a mere whisper that brushes through your ear. What is true and right for you? What do you honestly feel holds value for you? What speaks to your heart and what feeds your soul? My journey in answering these questions is far from over, but I have found a good place to be for a while, where my talents are being nurtured, stretched, and challenged. Student life and learning fills my needs for service, for learning, and for creativity. I wish you well on your road to discernment, and I hope that your travels are filled with colorful and joyful stops along the way. And if your road happens to lead you into the work of student affairs, well, maybe I'll see you later. Good luck to all of you, and thank you.